feedback I was going to respond to from the Battersea Mess was I think it's somebody that's one of our peers that's seen our piece already at school. They've commented, I'm still not seeing clear links between each section, but the emotional journey of the show is making a lot more sense. And I think the reason I wanted to respond to this is because it is something that we've spoken about, how to sort of link each moment that we've developed, because each moment individually has come from a different place, be that a personal place within the company or something that together we've come up with a way to deal with the topic that we're dealing with. So they have sort of been devised as individual beats, and then we found a way to bring them together. Now I think that we're still finding new things every day that link them closer together, but at the same time I think that personally I feel that they're representative of our process and of how the moment of how as practitioners we found ways of dealing with the topic that we're dealing with. So it's not necessarily that we're trying to find a narrative through line for the whole thing. It's more about us dealing with things and going through task-based activities as a way to emotionally and physically engage with the themes and the concepts that we've come up with for this piece. Flying my hair. The emotional journey of the show is making a lot more sense is probably the thing that we're aiming at the most. It's the physical response, the emotional response of the audience, and if they're finding that amongst the sections, then I feel like we're probably on the right track of what we're trying to develop. Another one I was going to respond to, which we had a really interesting chat about yesterday, was I'd be intrigued to find out what a male's perspective was to this piece. As a woman, I felt the freedom to laugh at the moments that comically commented on female oppression and objectification, but I wonder if men feel the same freedom to laugh. Now, we were discussing this yesterday and discussing whether this is a piece that is feminist and is predominantly commenting on women and how we deal with certain things amongst our lives and how we're connecting with the Trojan women, and whether men can connect with that. And it's interesting, as we've spoken to people, various audience members, but we kind of discussed that we don't think there's any specific parts of the show that are just focusing on exactly what only women go through. It's not necessarily talking about a women's perspective on sex or a women's perspective on puberty or anything like that. It feels more, I think, women going through captivation or oppression or along those lines, and men also have roots into that, and I think it is interesting as a man watching the piece how they can connect with that, and we thought as a future development of it we could actually explore that more and see how we can perhaps combine that with what we're doing, because feminism at the end of the day I don't believe is necessarily about, it's not just about speaking about women and empowering women, it's about how it's freedom for all and equal freedom for all. There was a post-it here from one of our course mates, just on a dream that they had for the piece was real anger, and I think that is something that we have struggled with as a group. It is about this group of women finding a peak of being just sort of an explosion moment. And we originally had a moment in the piece we did at school where we were yelling and shouting during Tanya's angry moment, and it never quite felt there, and we didn't have enough time to necessarily work on it before we did our public performance. So we thought if we're not reaching it and it's feeling staged, we need to take that out, because people were commenting they didn't feel like it was real, it didn't feel quite right. But through doing it, we've realised that the end moment for us is our angry moment, when we all sit up and we just scream, and the sort of the tiredness and the frustration of the whole performance and the failure of things within the performance just comes out there. And for me, that's the moment of real anger. But it's also a really interesting concept that we could probably workshop further for future development. this is a really interesting piece of feedback here. I think this piece is about the impossibility of performance to really convey meaning. A sequence of fragmented, enforced routines and actions, performers as slaves, these are all interrupted or foiled before completion. So basically this is something that we've really connected within the piece, that the struggle to what am I trying to say? The struggle and failure that we've been through to create the piece, and the frustration to really try and connect with certain things and concepts, and that's really been embedded within our performance. And we had to go past the point of apologising for this failure, and then just completely take it on, and it became a powerful, and I think a powerful theme throughout the whole thing, and something that audience can connect with quite strongly. Yeah.